Welcome to the Jeddah Corniche, one of the fastest circuits on the calendar. But let's see who will be fastest of them all. We're about to set the grid for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Yes, it's qualifying.
All right, let's have a quick radio check, please. Radio check.
Radio check.
Mind that front wing, it's going to need replacing if it takes too much damage. And we've dropped to P12. Okay, mate, our best lap so far, 1 minute 30.7. Okay, we're 20th in the speed trap, 331.4 kilometers per hour. Okay, radio check, radio check.
Radio check.
Okay, be careful with the front wing, you've taken some minor damage. Mind that front wing, it's going to need replacing if it takes too much damage. Confirmed, we'll receive you at the end of this lap. We've had to spend time repairing the damage to the car. We've dropped to P15. Okay, be careful with the front wing, you've taken some minor... right, engine off, engine off. Right, that's us pushed down into P15. Right, so far our best lap 1:31.4. All right, give me a quick radio check, please. Radio check.
Copy that, same for me.
only got 2 laps of fuel left. Right, so our fastest lap currently 1 minute 31.4. We're currently 10th in the speed trap, 334.6 kilometers per hour.
Well, that wraps up qualifying, but don't worry, we'll be back tomorrow as we head into the Grand Prix. Welcome to one of the fastest races in the entire calendar, and while it's one of the newer races on the F1 World Tour, it's already staked its reputation as a fan favourite. It's Jeddah, and it's the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. So let's take a look at the topographical map of the Jeddah Street Circuit. As you can see, a number of challenging corners for the drivers to master here. We'll see just how much the teams have benefited from their time spent in practice this weekend. And like many street circuits, this track has the potential to punish drivers that get it wrong. Let's hope we avoid any safety cars today. So with the race not far away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. Lando Norris put in a fantastic lap yesterday, and he'll start from pole position. And Max Verstappen lines up alongside. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Leclerc, Hamilton, George Russell, and Sainz, Antonelli, Albon, Tsunoda, and Oscar Piastri, Ocon, Fernando Alonso, Liam Lawson, Doohan, Hadjar, Stroll, Pierre Gasly and Ollie Behrman. Bortoletto and Nico Hülkenberg rounds off the grid. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out then. Let's see who can prevail today. And alongside me a man, well, what more can I say? But he's a legend. Anthony Davidson. I know what we've got to do before the start of today's race, but what about our driver? What do the final hours look like for them?
Well, for them, you've got your pre-race rituals that you go through. You see different drivers that, some have got their headphones on, they're listening to the music. Some drivers really absorb the energy from the crowd and they're there waving to them. Other drivers, they go within themselves. They chat to their engineers, absorbing that information, that vital information that you need to carry you through the race. And, those pre-race rituals are essential to making things systematic. We do a lot of Grand Prix in a season, and the more systematic you can be, the easier you are within that environment.
Okay, radio check, radio check.
Yeah, radio's good.
Right, there's a big incident in front of you. Red flag, red flag. We'll update you in the pits. Everyone's okay? Okay, this is essentially a free stop, so let's think very carefully about our strategy for the rest of this race. Back on track, let's make the best of this restart, let's go. Okay, be careful with the front wing, you've taken some minor damage. Okay, the stewards have now enabled DRS. DRS is now online. Okay mate, don't worry about the damage. I've got some new strategy options if you go and check your MFD. Okay, I've got a brand new race strategy on your MFD if you want to go and check it out. No need to worry about the tyre condition for now, everything's looking good. Mind that front wing, it's going to need replacing if it takes too much damage. Okay, so gap to the car ahead, 3.1 seconds.
Here's the checkered flag, and our winner has landoed. It's Lando Norris for victory.
This race really mattered for them today, Crofty. You know, it's close in the Drivers' Championship. You feel that pressure as a driver as it gets towards the end of the championship. And, you know, it's a big relief. It's a weight off your shoulders, and you'll know that it was a job well done.
And once all the hard work is over, and after lap of brilliant racing, it's time now to celebrate with our podium trio. He holds the trophy aloft, and why shouldn't he? A richly deserved win today for Lando Norris. Well, what an end to another fantastic weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who joined us, and we'll see you for the next one.